A while back, I created a video about a piece of equipment, a stabilizer, to hold my cell phone and my microphone, which is what I'm using right now. And in that video, I mentioned that I like to get a basic piece of equipment that isn't that expensive and upgrade from there. And a lot of the time, I find photographers and videographers and people who use equipment kind of go the opposite direction. They get the fanciest thing they could possibly get. And what I've found in my experience is that if I do that, a lot of the time I get features that I don't necessarily need, and now I've paid extra for it and made the learning process more complicated. So today I have two of my flashes here. And when I was starting photography and starting to get a few gigs here and there with getting paid for photography, I didn't have a flash at all, an off-camera flash. I was just doing my thing and using natural light, and I needed a flash. I was doing newspaper photography, and which turned into photojournalism, and it wasn't anything high-paying or terribly difficult like dark light or anything. It was just basically posed images along with action images, things happening in the moment, and me capturing it. So I was looking at a number of flashes, and because I wasn't getting paid that much, I decided I don't want to invest that much, and I ended up getting this Unogo Speedlight. And the thing was, everything was manual. And I had heard about TTL, which is what my newer one does. We'll get into that in a minute. And essentially, TTL is kind of like an auto flash. It does the settings for you, and it's really great when you're doing portrait photography most of the time. And but I wanted to get the manual, and even though it was a little bit more about spending money at the time, I really appreciate what it did for me, because I wasn't able to rely on TTL because this one, the Unogo one, did not have that feature. So I had to learn to do everything in manual, and I was constantly changing the settings depending on how the light changed, because sometimes when I'm doing event photography or I'm doing even covering these newspaper moments, or even just I'm doing a portrait and then the light changes, or I'm doing a portrait and they move to a different location and I need a different portrait, this forced me to be constantly changing my settings. The great thing about that, yes, it went slower, but the great thing about that is I got really good at doing it. And so when it was time to upgrade, this one started slowing down a bit and being inconsistent, and I was like, all right, well, I need another one, and I really want a TTL because I'm starting to shoot things like that had required more speed and more settings. So I got this one, which is still a really basic one. It's not like the Canon ones, which are like $400, and it like goes at a faster shutter speed, which I still didn't need. And and if I did need it, I would know, because I'd spend $100 and be like, nope, this is still limiting what I need, and I would upgrade to the $400 or $600 Speedlight from Canon. But what I've found is that's unnecessary. So at least for what I'm doing right now. So I've saved money, and now I have this one, which has been working so perfectly fine, and I've been using it for a couple years now. And then this one, if this ever does go, I can always switch back to this one temporarily and then go get another Speedlight. But seriously, for low budget stuff, these things have been so durable and so stress-free, because I do have a few flashes and not flashes, I have a few lenses that I carry with me, and they're rather expensive, and I don't use them for all my jobs. And I, have insurance on them, but I don't like taking them out or even thinking about what happens when I'm in a situation where I have to move fast and, oh my God, if I drop this, I'm screwed. But that hasn't happened. Actually, that did happen once. I did drop one lens. That one wasn't that expensive. That was a nifty 50, but still one that I use a lot. And I was very disappointed, and I had to wait to get it in from Amazon for a day or two, and that was also frustrating. So with these guys, I guess I'd have to wait, or no, I'd have my backup. But my point is, I have a backup. I have a training ground in manual, and it has made me overall a better photographer to start with the basics and to know what features I need when I go get better equipment.